You've probably heard a ton about mindfulness, right? Usually it's talked about as a way to de-stress or, just chill out. But what if it's way more than that? What if it's the actual, fundamental secret to success in our crazy, distracted world? Today, we're going to dig into how mastering your attention isn't just about focus. It's the key to unlocking your full potential in literally everything you do.
So let's start with the big question. What is the one thing that really separates success from failure? It's not just about talent, it's not just about luck. The answer, according to some really ancient wisdom, is something much simpler and more profound. It's all about uniting your action with your consciousness. It's the difference between running on autopilot and being truly 100% present.
Okay, so to find the secret to success, we first have to get real about what's holding us back. And you know what? More often than not, the biggest obstacle isn't something out there in the world, it's right here inside our own restless, distracted minds. And this state, it actually has a name: fickleness. Just think of it as that constant mental static in your head, that feeling of being unable to just be where you are, doing what you're doing. And it's more than just a little annoying. It actively sabotages our peace and our ability to get anything meaningful done.
You know, this isn't some new idea. The ancient yogic sage Maharshi Patanjali actually broke this down centuries ago. He said that this mental fickleness always brings four little companions along for the ride. First, a general sense of suffering or dissatisfaction. Then that feeling starts to show up physically, as trembling or anxiety, and even something as basic as shallow breathing. The more scattered your mind is, the more you feel all of this stuff.
So, if fickleness is the problem, what on earth is the solution? Well, this is where we get to the real core of it. The secret isn't some complicated life hack or productivity strategy. It's simply about injecting vitality back into our actions. And where does that vitality come from? You guessed it, mindfulness.
Look, we basically operate in two modes. Over on the left, you've got unmindfulness. Ancient Jain scriptures call this dravya. This is your classic autopilot mode, right? Your body is doing one thing, but your mind is a million miles away. And that path? It leads to failure. But on the right, you have mindfulness, or bhav. This is where your consciousness and your action become one. And that is the source of vitality and ultimately success.
And this is such a powerful way to think about it. An action without consciousness is just an empty movement. It's just like a mummy. I mean, it has the shape of a person, but there's no life, no vitality, no meaning. When we just go through the motions without any awareness, our actions are pretty much the same, lifeless.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we make our actions vital instead of mummified? Well, thankfully there's a simple, super practical framework for this. Let's call it the 3 dimensions of mindfulness. Here it is. It's not complicated, I promise. Number 1. Just choose to be awake. Not just physically awake, but mentally aware. 2. Practice living right here, in the present moment. Not lost in old memories, not stressing about the future. And number 3, bring that awareness directly into whatever you're doing. Act consciously. That's it. So how does this simple framework actually fit into our everyday lives? Because this isn't about achieving some mystical mountaintop state. It's really about transforming the boring, mundane things we do every single day. And what could possibly be more universal than eating? We all do it multiple times a day, usually without a second thought. But how often are we actually there when we're eating? This simple act is basically the perfect laboratory for practicing mindfulness. And this wisdom is absolutely timeless. The ancient master of Ayurvedic medicine, Charak, said it perfectly centuries ago. He said, while taking food, put your whole mind into it. That's it. When you eat, just eat. Focus on the taste, the texture, the whole experience of nourishing your body.
So here's why this is so critical. When you're physically sitting there eating, but your mind is mentally stressing out about a business deal, your body is in total chaos. Your digestive system is trying to do its job, but your brain is pumping out stress signals. They are literally working in opposite directions, and that conflict creates disorder, both in your mind and in your body.
Okay, so now let's zoom out and expand this idea. Mindfulness isn't just something you switch on for 5 minutes while you eat. The real, ultimate goal here is to turn your entire life into a form of meditation. This question really gets to the heart of it all. We tend to think of meditation as this thing we do on a cushion for, say, an hour. But what's the point? The real power comes when that 1 hour of practice spills out and starts to completely transform the other 23 hours of your day. And this is the end game, perpetual meditation. It's that state you reach when you consistently unite your mind with whatever you're doing right in that moment. When you walk, you're just walking. When you listen, you are just listening. Every single action becomes its own little exercise in full conscious presence.
So, look, if you only take one single thing away from all of this, please let it be this: an action that is infused with consciousness becomes a vital action. It has power, it has purpose, it has effectiveness. An action without consciousness is just an empty shell, and it's pretty much destined to be weak and ineffective.
And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. I want you to look at your own day, your work, your chores, your relationships. Are your actions vital? Are they full of life and presence? Or are they just empty movements, things you do on autopilot while your mind is somewhere else entirely? The answer to that question, well, it could be the key to everything.